Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your April 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us, and some extra cards came out for you there. Then we also have two Oracle cards to get through, and also a Mudra card. So we'll get started with the main spread first, going through those cards one by one. And in the main situation position, you guys got the 10 of Cups. So this, the artwork is pretty obvious in this one, but this could definitely represent you being in a happy relationship, sometimes even to the point where, you could start a family with that person, or this could just be saying that, that's at least how you view them, you view them as someone that has long-term potential, someone that you see the possibility to grow with, right? Like, even if you want to represent that that's where you guys might be right now in a certain way, but, okay, this is us in the early stages of the relationship, but I could see us growing together in the relationship, right? That's how that could play out. This also represents the last 10 degrees of Pisces, too. So that's actually where the Mercury retrograde had started back in March. And then it's going to eventually pass those degrees again through the month of April as it starts to move forward again. So for some of you, maybe it's something that even might have started around that time when the retrograde first kicked in, and maybe now you're seeing some kind of forward progress with that. And with this being a card of Pisces, that also represents your second house too. So maybe you're going to see some forward movement in the area of finances as well, which would be happy, pleasing for you rather, and make you happy, I should say. So that's the primary vibes that I'm getting from that energy there. In the challenge or obstacle position, you guys have the Eight of Swords and the Page of Cups. So the way I see this is, for some of you, this could be saying that, this is a potential relationship, right? And maybe someone makes an offer to you that, maybe something comes off about it that you don't necessarily know if you can trust it, right? So you feel like you're not sure what to do, should you move forward with it or not? This could even be you saying that, maybe you want to take that step towards someone, but you're nervous to do it because you're afraid that you're going to make a fool of yourself, basically, for lack of a better way of saying it. The way I always point at the page energies in the deck is that, to me, they're kind of like that one foot in, one foot out energy, where, and you could usually see that even in their stances. They don't look overly confident in their stances, and, it makes sense. Basically, they're the first ones out of the court cards, right? So it's like they're new to that energy, to actually possessing the cup energy, whereas before, you're going through certain processes. This is when you actually see them possessing that element. So, the knight or the queen and the king of cups, they seem a lot more sure-footed and secure with the cup, whereas this person not as much. And, you even see the fish there, which to me represents, not even checking to make sure that everything was on the up and up, right? Like, you're going to offer that cup to someone, you might have wanted to check it first to make sure there wasn't still a freaking fish in it, right? So that could be what's going on there. So maybe someone makes an offer to you and something seems a bit off to you about it, or vice versa. Maybe you're just nervous about making the offer, and because you're just worried that that's how you'll come across, right? Either way, though, with this card in the upright, usually, whether it's you making the offer or someone making the offer to you, usually it is a trustworthy offer. It just might come off a little clunky, and I mean, we are still going to be dealing with that shadow energy with Mercury in April, so that could be part of it. But I mean, you guys are going to have Mars in your fifth house too, so wouldn't surprise me if you guys were feeling that Ten of Cups energy, because that Mars going through your fifth house could definitely lead to a start of a new love relationship. Alright, in the foundation position, we have the Four of Wands. So this is another indicator that whatever this is, this does have potential. The fours represent stability. And with the Four of Wands, this actually represents the last 10 degrees of Aries. So, maybe between the 10th and the 20th, let's say, of April is when you actually do gain some traction in this connection. And, that would make sense too, because that's as we're getting further and further away from that Mercury retrograde energy too. So, maybe if there was some confusion or miscommunication earlier on in the month, as the month progresses, it should start to clear up for you. And that Mars energy in your fifth house is going to be there pretty much through mid-May. So, it's not going to be like a real short transit. It'll be there for a while. All right, in the past position, we have the Two of Pentacles. So, this could just be you trying to juggle between, deciding, do I make the offer, do I not make the offer, or do I accept the offer, do I not accept the offer, right? And since this is Pentacles, for others of you, this could also represent juggling between two sources of income, trying to get that balance going in your life. And, things could have been a bit topsy-turvy for you in that area because, again, like we were saying, there was a lot of weird energy going on in your second house, which is Pisces. They had the Mercury retrograde, and basically as it was doing a retrograde, it squared with Jupiter, and, it's basically right at the end of March coming into May, it'll have a conjunction with Neptune before it starts to move forward again, so that could definitely have somewhat of a fog over your finances in that regard. So, maybe that's what was going on there. You're just having difficulty just getting a hold of your finances, or like I said, possibly even trying to juggle two different sources of income at once. Alright, in the present position, we have the Hangman. So this is actually yet again more Pisces energy. At least for me, this is a major arcana card for Pisces. And with this coming up in the present position, this could just be saying that that's how you're feeling. You're feeling a bit stuck, but maybe for some of you at least, it could be by design too. Maybe you're trying to gain a different perspective on something. So, whether it's this situation here, like we said with the Eight of Swords, trying to decide what to do with that, or again with the, if this is two sources of income, it doesn't look like this person has a firm grasp on it, right? It looks like he's a bit out of balance, trying to maintain, keeping them within that infinity symbol, but at the same time, it's like, okay, at the same time, there's better ways to go about that, right? It's pentacles, so if one of them drops, they're not going to break. It's not like eggs, you know what I mean? So you could put them down and think about how best to do it, right? But, he's not doing that at that point. He's like, almost stuck in that cycle. So maybe that's where you're at right now. Just mentally trying to think about what to do with your finances. And, that's what happens sometimes with Mercury retrogrades too. They're good for reviewing things. So, you'd be looking over things in that area of life and trying to see, okay, where can I improve it, right? And combine that with the fact that the North Node is in your sixth house too. And this sixth house represents work and daily routines. So that could also factor in, because during that Mercury retrograde as well, it did trine with the North Node in Cancer. So that could definitely be part of what's going on for you there. And I have to put it out there, since we have the Pisces card there and here, some of you could be dealing with the Pisces as well. This Page of Cups could even represent Pisces too. So maybe it's a Pisces that you're dealing with in some area, possibly romantic relationships, but could be anything. In the near future position, you got 3 cards that came up, and this is going to be interesting. As you see, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles. So, it seems a little jumpy there, right? So, there's a few different ways that this could be playing out. To me, the Eight of Pentacles card I view almost as it's more like you're working on something for yourself, right? So this would almost be like an entrepreneurial type of energy for me. I just feel like they're like, trying to get a hold of, like, all right, I'm going to make money for myself, right? Because he's like literally making the pentacles right there. He's like, I want to make money for myself as opposed to someone else, right? And then we have the Six of Pentacles energy here, which is about balance. And then the Seven of Pentacles looks like someone that's working right out in the field, let's say. So this again is another thing that points back to me with that Two of Pentacles, saying that a lot of you are probably trying to balance, working for yourself, some kind of, entrepreneurial type business that you have going for yourselves, and then your regular, 9 to 5 job, if you will, for lack of a better way to say it. And that's what you're working on. You're trying to keep that balance going. Like, how am I going to manage these two? And like I said, with the North Node in your 6th house, that is an area of focus for you guys in general to, get a hold of your day-to-day routines and how best to manage them. But that was the primary vibe that I was getting there. For others of you, this could even represent that, you got to this point, but then you had some expenses that you had to put some money into, right? And maybe you viewed it as a setback, and now you're trying to build that money back up. That could also be what it is there. Again, none of those scenarios would surprise me with, like I said, what you had going on in your 2nd house, which is a bit hectic. And then not to mention, you guys, right when Pisces season started too, there was a full moon in Virgo, which represents your 8th house. So, that could represent money owed to others, taxes, for example, something along those lines. So that could be what's going on there. But for the majority of you, that's the main vibe that I'm getting. The first thing that we were talking about, which was with the 8 and the 7, the 6 in between them. It's like, all right, trying to manage working for yourself and maintaining your regular day job, if you will. And that's, what you're trying to keep in balance right now. Especially, like I said, with that 2 of Pentacles in the past. So, all right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the 5 of Wands and the Ace of Swords. So the 5 of Wands can represent competition. Sometimes it could be about ego as well. This actually represents the first 10 degrees of Leo as well. There's not really anything going on in Leo in general right now, so I don't really think it's related to that. But the first thing that I'm getting looking at these 2 cards together, to be honest with you, is I feel like this might even be, this gives me another thought with these cards here. This could be that, you might feel like you're doing a lot of the work in your work environment with these cards. You might feel like you're the only one who's really taking it seriously, right? And you feel like, there's other people who are just getting handouts, if you will, right? Just sitting around waiting for things to come to them while you're actually the one doing all the work. And you're like, really? Do I really want to continue to do this, right? So that could be what this 5 of Wands is about, where you're really looking at people in your work environment and you're like, are you serious right now? You guys aren't even taking this seriously. You're not doing things the way you should be doing them. And then maybe you actually confront them about it with the Ace of Swords here, because throughout the month of April, you can have that Aries energy going through your 3rd house, which is your house of communication. So, you can have the sun there, the new moon there. So that really might get you to the point where you're ready to speak out about this. If this is someone like in your work environment, or a group of people that just aren't carrying their weight, you're just going to call them out on it. That's the first vibe that I'm getting with that, really. And, or, for some of you too, another possibility there could be that you're, throwing your hat into a competitive field and, you're just, whatever the job may be, this might be a very competitive field. And with the Ace of Swords here, to me, it shows that you might have somewhat of an upper hand. You might stand out from the rest of them, right? They're all here with wands, and you're bringing a sword, so they might view you as sharper, like you really just stand out among the crowd in that regard, which is definitely a good thing. You guys have King of Swords at the bottom of the deck too, excuse me. So that's actually the court card for your sign. So I just get the feeling that whatever's going on here, you're gonna feel pretty in control throughout most of it. All right, in the position of the environment, we have the environment's influence, rather, on the situation. We have the Ten of Wands. So what this could represent is, well, it could play out a couple ways. One, this could be maybe after you call out people in your work environment, like, seriously, guys, I'm over here busting my ass, and you guys aren't even really carrying your weight. Maybe they do pick up the slack after they get called out on it, right? And for others of you, this could just be saying that this is how you feel. You feel like you're just taking on a lot of work, and at this point, you're not even sure of what the end game is, right? Because what I always say with the Ten of Wands, this person, can they even see where they're going? Okay, maybe they are headed towards their goal, but can they even see what that goal is anymore, or where it is? Are they off course? Who knows, right? Certainly seems like there'd be better ways for him to carry those wands that would help him see where he was going. So, you could just be feeling like you're caught up and lost. Like, really, do I even want to continue this? Where's this all leading, right? That could be what you're feeling there. So that could play out either way, and then that represents the last 10 degrees of Sagittarius, by the way. Trying to think if anything else comes to mind with that right now, but well, I think Jupiter is going to actually turn retrograde in those degrees this month, and then when those squares with Pisces happen, actually, with Mercury in Pisces, it was, Jupiter was in these degrees as well, so that could definitely point to some finances and maybe even possibly you realizing where you've gotten in your own way in some regard, because, for some of you, since it's towards the very end of Sagittarius, it might even be in your 12th house for some of you. So you'll probably get a feel for how that works. Or this could even be like a friend group, honestly, because if it was your 11th house too, then maybe it's, you've found ways where maybe the friendship group that you're with might be holding you back in some regard. Obviously not all of them, I'm assuming, but maybe some of them. So that could be what that's pointing to there. All right, and in the hopes or fears position, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So while we talk about it, we'll hold it in the upright. And this is actually the court card for Taurus. Pretty obvious symbolism there. You see the bull symbols all over the place. With this in reverse, I'm going to assume it was a fear since it was in reverse. And this could just be saying that, you fear that you won't have that financial stability, right? Or you fear that your financial situation won't turn around. So again, if you're really burying yourself in work because you feel like you've had some kind of financial setback, you might feel like, okay, well, is my financial situation ever going to turn around, right? But again, like I said, keep in mind, your second house, Neptune's going to be there for a while, so that's one thing. So that could lend somewhat of a fog over your finances to a certain extent, but, with Mercury doing what it was doing throughout the month of March, and, like I said, as we get through April, it's going to clear that energy out, and you're going to have Venus move into that house as well and help. That should definitely help as it goes over those same degrees that Mercury was going through. So that could definitely help give a boost to your finances in that regard. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Six of Swords. So, all right, it won't focus, but yeah, the Six of Swords is actually an Aquarius card too. It represents the middle 10 degrees of Aquarius. So, for those of you who have your placement in those degrees, this might resonate a bit more for you. But this represents moving on from something, and so if you are in an environment like that you view as toxic, right? Some of you just might say, you know what, I'm out. Maybe that's what the Ace of Swords is, right? You're like, you know what, I'm out of here. This environment's ridiculous. It's toxic. You guys are always, either not taking your job seriously, or maybe everyone is, arguing with each other on the work front, whatever the case may be. And you're just like, you know what, I'm not even dealing with this anymore. But it's interesting though, because and then maybe that's what the fear is. Maybe you've wanted to do this for a while, but you just fear, like, well, what's going to happen with my money, right? So maybe that's what's been going on. Maybe you have been putting a lot of energy into a side business because you've known that you were going to, that you wanted to leave your regular job, but, you've just, we're trying to wait for the right time, right? And maybe you're not as prepared as you want it to be too. That's a possibility with the King of Pentacles in reverse there. So you might feel like, all right, well, I wanted to build up my finances a little bit more, but you just might get to a breaking point with like I said, with that the sun being in Aries moving through your third house. That just might give you the impetus to really speak out. And for some of you this could represent definitely leaving something behind. But it's interesting though, because it looks like things look pretty solid for you on the love front, actually. I mean, with the 10 of Cups and then the 4 of Wands. And the reason why I find that so interesting is because your opposite sign, Leo, last month, they pretty much got the opposite. It was like their finances were looking great, but their love relationships looked like a hot mess. So interesting. So if you guys are with Leos, it ironically looks like you'd be balancing each other out, right? But I don't know. It's very interesting to me. But even so, I mean, I don't think that you guys are going to experience a big setback if you do experience a setback financially. But really getting the feeling there that that's how, for most of you, how this is going to play out. We'll see what the Oracle cards add to this, actually, rather than me just rambling on forever. So the first Oracle card that you guys got was TikTok. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 30. So we'll read that message first. Okay, it says timelessness, divine timing, immeasurable time. The Oracle's message. When humans created time, everything changed and contracted. People have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future is ahead of them. But what if that wasn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order, were happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co-create the life you desire, so release your agenda. Let go of your need to shape each moment to your expectations, knowing that what is yours will never be withheld from you. Miracles are here right now and always show up when you need them, right on time. So, I mean, that's definitely a positive message for those of you who are feeling possibly like, you do have to really, really buckle down and control everything. Saying that you just have a little bit more trust that things will pan out for you. All right, the relationship message says love, the fulfillment of desire, and even the body's reproductive cycles have their own timetable. Some things are preordained and cannot be coerced. Everything has its season, It's divine and appropriate timing, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Remember that you always have enough time for love, to find it, to nurture it, to give and receive it. Its clock is eternal and ticks according to the beat of your heart in perfect rhythm. Isn't that wonderful to know? Love is always right on time. So, for those of you, for example, maybe this is all what's going on. Like the whole story is your story, right? That could be saying that, maybe you're feeling like so stressed out with the whole finances thing that, this love offer might come across or the potential for a connection, and you just might feel like, oh, I just can't do this right now, So maybe that's what the Eight of Swords energy is. But so if that's how you're feeling, well, you could look at that message one of two ways, right? Which is to say, well, maybe this connection is brought to you right now for a reason, right? To help alleviate some of the stress and the chaos of all that. Or on the flip side, it could also be saying, well, if you truly don't feel ready right now, hey, if the person's meant to be with you, then, it'll still happen anyway. So don't stress yourself out in that regard. Like, oh my God, I have to make it happen right now, So you guys will know what group you fit in as far as those scenarios go. All right, and then the prosperity message says your prosperity is co-created by your endeavors as they occur in human-made time and the eternal efforts of your most important manifestation partner, Spirit, in a divine, measureless time. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive and make a commitment to remain in high vibration thoughts and feelings. If you heed the message of this card, it will seem as if you will align with your highest calling and your highest good in no time at all, like magic. So what's all the fuss about not having enough time? The prosperous life that is yours will never pass you by. So, that sounds like a pretty good message there, too, Maybe that's what it is. Like, ironically, with the time, that made me think back to what I was saying, where, you might feel like, all right, I'm done with this place, I have to leave it now, right? But you might feel like, oh, crap, I was hoping to have more time to build up my finances with the second job, right? But, you might be a little bit short of that goal, and now you're like, oh, great. So you might be vacillating on, back and forth there, like, all right, do I keep with this job to build up the finances a little more, or, maybe just have more faith that if I walk away from that, it'll give me more time to put into my other, project I'm working on and let the finances flow in from that area, right? And if that's where you're really at mentally too, like I said, by mid-month, let's say, you should start to feel some of that energy clear as far as the fog behind finances and maybe just communication in general too. So something to think about there. All right, and we'll take a look at the next message you guys got from the second oracle deck, which is the Spirit Animal Oracle. And you got Dolphin Spirit. It says, this and that are true. So already, this sounds like it's going to be an interesting one, right? Someone else got this month too. I don't remember what sign, and but yeah, there's the artwork for it, and the number is 20. Let's see what the messages are here. All right. It says, Oracle message. Dolphin spirit, like her earthly manifestation, is a reminder of duality. As the dolphin is both mammal and sea creature, so too is dolphin spirit, both this and that. Two truths coexist, the story you tell and another as well. The duality of life is present when we are suffering, for there is a blessing too in the helpers that appear. Within clouds are silver linings. When we later reflect on what happened, we can see that the situation was both this and that, and a choice led to both joy and sorrow. No relationship is either all good or all bad, and people have qualities of both light and shadow. Focus on the positive, for light exists alongside darkness. Dolphin spirit calls for you to come up from below and enjoy a weightless moment in the sun as you dive in and out of this and then that, accepting and even enjoying the duality of life. Why not join Dolphin Spirit in acknowledging and affirming the blessings present in this moment? In all areas of your life, there are aspects of both this and that. Today you can celebrate this fact and recognize the complexity and the beauty of the fabric of the universe. You are at a place right now where your past self is still present as you move towards the new self you are becoming. Aspects of both selves are present, so even if you want to say goodbye to what was, you are required to find solace in this between time. Today is not a day to choose one over another either, but rather to accept things as they are without judgment or resistance. Even in matters of the heart, duality is present. Your next action will be obvious when you drop your bias and see things as a whole. So, I mean, that was a pretty long message, but it does sound like it might actually resonate for you guys quite a bit if the main spread did, so there's that. The one thing I found interesting is when it said the duality of life is present when we are suffering, for there is a blessing too, and the helpers that appear. So that almost is that juxtaposition of what I was saying, like if you guys feel like you're burdened with finances right now, like there's just a whole lot going on, but then there's something in another area in your life, like possibly a love relationship coming through. It's just saying, then maybe it's just what you need at this time, and so maybe not worry that, oh my God, no, my finances aren't perfect. I can't possibly do something in that area of life. Maybe it's just saying to be a bit more open to it. And, most of all, not be too hard on yourself, too, because it's saying, you're like that in that in-between phase. So, something to think about there. All right, and the last thing we'll do is we'll look at the Mudra card that came up for your sign. So, for those of you who don't know, I've been pulling Mudra cards for all of the signs this year, and basically what a mudra is it's a gesture you make with your hands, and usually you do it while meditating. Normally you want to go for at least 5 minutes, but if you're someone who's more accustomed to meditating, half hour, 45 minutes, depending on which one you get. And what their main purpose is they're to help clear blockages. So sometimes it could even be a physical blockage, but other times it's a mental, emotional blockage. And the one that you guys got this month is Abhaya Mudra, and the keyword for it is courage. And there's the actual gesture itself. So this looks like an open hand. From the looks of your influence on the situation, you might be wanting to use that open hand for something else, but try to hold back from that if you can. Terology 33 does not endorse violence. But not in all seriousness, let me get the card focused so you guys can, pause it or take a screenshot if you wanted to read a bit more about this. And let's get the bottom half too. All right, so for the benefits, it says calms the mind, reduces anxiety and inner conflict, removes attachment and aversion to thoughts, emotions, and sensations, serves as a form of protection from negativity. So, I mean, really, if these are some of the energies you guys are feeling with, especially the more tense ones, then maybe this actually could help you out. So, what I'll do is I'll put the name of the mudra in the description of the video as well. And if you want a private reading with me, I'll put some information in there too. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, we have a little bit more fun with astrology and tarot there, so you can check that out. But if not, I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.